Okay, hello. I think we have, hello, we have one attendee here. Hello, good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for joining us today. Okay, just want to make sure we're recording. Can you see a record button on the side? Pastor Tony, can you see a record? I think you're on mute. Okay. Just want to make sure that we're recording, okay?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, good.
Okay, good. All right, I just want to, okay, I think we're recording. Great, sounds good. So hello everyone and welcome to the second EPR Women's Network webinar session. We are excited to have you today and we're excited to have our guest speaker. But before we start, we'd like to know who is in the room. And if you want to, there's a little chat box in on the screen. If you can look for your chat box, and first of all, let me know if you can hear me clearly. And just chat, yes, I can hear you. And then also want to know, of course, your name and your location, where you're logging in from. That would be great. I'm gonna start. I know I can hear me, and make sure that you're posting. Hi. Hi, Larry, how you doing? Great, thank you. All right. Yeah, all right. I am logging in from Silver Spring. All right. Okay. All right. Sounds good. Thank you. Hi, Lami. Hi, Larry. Who else do we have on? I know we were still waiting for some others before we start. Just want to make sure everybody can hear me. All right. Thank you. Great, great, great. Okay, we have the sound going on, sound working fine. And so in the interest of time, just to make sure we're all set, I'm gonna go ahead and, we're gonna go ahead and start. We like to start on time. With EPR, in the Women's Network, we want to start on time and we want to end on time. So again, my name is Kemi Akindutere. I'm one of the leaders in the EPR Women's Network. I work with an amazing team who we try to bring valuable topics to you on a monthly basis. We're an arm of the SS Preparation Room Prayer Ministry. So just want to welcome everyone. And today, I am not going to be the one presenting, but we have an amazing, amazing guest speaker today who will be covering the topic accountability for success. Last month, we talked about some very valuable tools that we need to, that will help us to really stay on track and make sure that we are successful by the end of the year as we envisioned our year, to just ensure that we make sure that we stay on track with our goals, and at the end of 2019, we're really in that place where we feel like we have achieved the things that we set out to achieve. And so today we're going to be focusing on accountability as one of those tools. And today I have with me Pastor Mrs. Oluwatosin Omotayo Benson. I have known Pastor Tosin for a long time, and she has been somebody that, when this topic came up, I just knew she was the right person. She's one of the most, committed, focused, and, just quietly achieving her goals. And I just felt like, this is somebody who I feel has very practical tools for you to really just consistently achieve the goals that you set out to achieve. She's as I mentioned, she's a pastor. She's a pastor's wife. She's a mother of 3. She's an entrepreneur. She runs multiple businesses, by the way. So you can imagine how many things she has to juggle along with her entire family. And as she continues to support her husband's ministry and the ministry that they run together. So I wanted to join me in welcoming Pastor Tosin to the session today. So over to you, Pastor Tosin.
Good Good morning or afternoon, everyone. Can you hear me well?
Can you keep going? I'll let you know if it went in and out for a minute, but keep going. I'll let you know if we need to switch things around a little bit.
All right. Good morning. Basically, we just want to talk about accountability for success. But before I proceed in doing that, I want to know what your definition for success is. Okay, good. I want to know. So please, can we use the chat box? Just type what you think accountability is. I know we throw it out a lot, but I just want to know what people's ideas are. So if you could quickly just type in the chat box what you think accountability is to you, what it means to you.
Okay. All right. Accountability.
Yes. What does it mean to you? What do you think to be accountable? What does that mean?
Committed.
Okay, I see taking practical steps to commit yourself, set goals, holding yourself to a standard. Okay. Committed to achieving goals. Accountability means taking responsibility for my life and my decisions. Awesome. So you guys basically grasp the concept, okay, of what accountability is, holding yourself accountable. Basically, this session is going to be giving you 3 levels of accountability, and the second one is being split into 2. Okay, so the first step, Kemi, if you help me with the slides before we go into that, what to expect. I want you to know that you're going to gain some insight into multiple dimensions of accountability. Okay, and the second one is to identify practical tips to building your holistic accountability strategy. The way I go about life is that, there are certain levels of accountability, and we're going to go into the first one right now. The first one is what I coined as the accountability to God. Okay, let me close this slide. Okay, so the first one is accountability to God. As we all know, God is our creator. We just didn't appear through a big bang, neither did we evolve from apes or monkeys. As we all know, how God created Adam and also decided to bring the rib Eve into his life. And when he did that, he gave Adam and Eve an instruction. He gave them a clear instruction for them to cultivate, for them to replenish the earth, for them to tend to the garden and to do certain things. So they were supposed to be reporting back to him. And one of the ways that we commonly know to report back to God in our levels of accountability is prayer. We, as children of God, we're spiritual beings, as we know. We're not, physical beings. We're spiritual beings living in a human world. So our way of communicating back to God is through prayer. Prayer doesn't have to be the, oh, Father, Lord Jesus, blah, 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 and all that stuff. It can be just simply communicating, talking with God. When you get to a level of having a closeness with God, you begin to interact with him like he's your dad. And the way you talk to him and you communicate your plans, sometimes you can cry, unto God. You can vent your frustrations out to God, but you can tell him. But the purpose of this is to be accountable to him by talking to him. It is very, very important. How shall he know your plans when you don't tell him? He knows your plans, don't get me wrong, but he requires a relationship. As we know how God works, relationship is very important. So for you to understand, what he has, the assignment he has given you, the goals you have, prayer is very, very important, in communing with God. The other level that I have here is studying the word. In the word, that is when God talks back to us. I know God talks back in many ways, don't get me wrong. But as my husband will always say, there is nothing outside the word of God. God clearly says he has placed his word above his name. That is how important his word is to him. At times when I am confused about a subject or I need guidance, I go on Google and I type in a word. And what I do is, say, for example, I'm confused and I want to know about communication. about what, God says about communication, I will type communication verses, and you will see different links to like 35 verses about communication. Is it about children? Is it about dedication? Is it about church community? Whatever it may be, the fastest way I just go on Google and I type the word and verses, and you will see how the scriptures will just come pouring out. When you're confused, God sends messages mostly through his word. We need to become scholars of the word. It is very key. That is another level of being accountable to God, for us to hide his word in our hearts, because he clearly says that. And when pressed on every side, when we're going through many challenges, many difficulties or whatever, it's the word that encourages us. It's the word that we stand on for us to proceed in what he expects us to proceed with. What is the instruction God has given you? It is his word that will see you to the very end. When God gives you a word, no matter the storms, no matter the arrows, no matter what may come at you, it is his word that you keep reciting in your head, that the Holy Spirit brings to your remembrance. And then you're like, you know what, God, based on your word, I am going to continue. I'm not going to quit. I'm not going to give up. So this is another level of accountability to God, for us to hide his word in our hearts. Then also, the third part I said was to engage in spiritual activities. I know people go and watch movies and people do different things, but how well are you engaging in spiritual activities, in fellowships, in Bible studies? It's when you are in those midst that you see the word of God interpreted in another way. You might receive the same verse interpreted in a A type form, but somebody might be in that Bible study that might interpret it in a different form, and you're like, wow, I never saw it like that. So it's very, very important for us to hold ourselves accountable to God on spiritual matters, on spiritual levels, because as we all know, God is a spiritual being. We need to connect with God because we are spiritual beings ourselves. So this is one level of being accountable to God in the efforts for us to succeed in what we have to do. And the Bible verse I put there is Proverbs 16:3, says, commit thy works unto the Lord, and thy thoughts shall be established. So this is the first level that I believe very strongly in being accountable. So we can go to the next slide.
Okay.
All right. In the area of personal, I broke it up into two. So the first part is being accountable to self. We have to learn how to be accountable to ourselves first. And this part I call the handwork, things you do. Kemi informed me that, a lot of the ladies are very skilled in setting goals, in setting, writing out their ideas and all those things. So I'm going to go through this, and then I'm going to, poll you guys to see how well, that is going. So the first one I want to talk about is documentation of your set goals, objectives, and your task. The reason is a lot of people are used to setting lofty ideas. Oh, I want to lose weight, or I want to lose weight. Lose weight is lofty. Lose weight is abstract. You're not fleshing it out. You're not breaking it down. I want to be more spiritual. That's the lofty goal. How are you breaking it down to objectives? How are you also taking your objectives and breaking into tasks? Like, what do you do on a daily basis that will get you closer to your weekly goal and closer to your monthly goal than your yearly? How well are you doing that? So we need to learn how to take a lofty goal and break it down, trickle it down to objectives and tasks so that it could be easily digestible. The next one is to record your ideas, your thoughts, your visions. What do I mean by this? I sing a lot at home, and I come up with tunes that I've never heard before. And what I do is I take my recorder and I record my voice. I record the singing, because sometimes I could be sleeping and the song is in my spirit while I'm sleeping. And then the moment I wake up, the tune is still in my head, and I take my recorder and I record it. Now, I'm not saying that I'm going to go and be the next, CC Winans or whatever, but I could decide to become a writer, to write songs for people, for Christian artists. So I record those songs down. So what kind of ideas and thoughts and visions do you have that you tell yourself, oh, I'll think about it later, and before you know it, it's gone? The funny thing is that those tunes have left my head, but because I recorded it, I could play it. And that helps me remember. And now I'm realizing that because of what I'm doing, that is helping my middle child, Ebu. Ebu knows how to write songs. So I record it immediately because she sees me record mine. So I start to record hers. She has written 3 songs so far. She sang one for Mother's Day. She sang one for Father's Day. And I forgot the third one. But immediately she comes with those things. She rushes to me and we record it. So that's basically what I'm trying to tell you. So you need to learn how to record your ideas, your thoughts, your visions. Find a means to record, because sometimes the devil comes and tries to take it out of your mind because you are so busy. We get so busy with so many other things. Find a way to record it immediately as best as you can so that it doesn't disappear. Another thing I want to say is set calendars, reminders. I'm very big on that. I have too many hats I'm wearing. It gets crazy. Okay. So I immediately use my phone. I either text, I use my calendar on my phone to plug in all my meetings, my schedules, my activities, everything. Then also, if I have a project coming up, I either text my husband, he knows when I do this, or I text my son has a phone which he doesn't use. So I would WhatsApp all my list to dos. I will WhatsApp things to them. My husband doesn't respond because he knows, oh, she's fleshing out an idea of things she needs to do. And even yesterday, I needed to do 2 days ago, I needed to do something yesterday. And I said, oh, I need to do this. And my husband said, text me, text me, text me. He's used to receiving texts from me that it has nothing to do with him, but he knows that I'm trying to set reminders for myself immediately so that I don't forget. So it has become a habit and a pattern for me to do that. And also another thing I noticed that we're guilty of is we don't revisit certain things. So it's good to revisit certain things. Even me, I've fallen short in some things that I need to do. I had a goal that I need to develop by the end of this year. And I've let a lot of things come before. But because I've written it down and I revisited it, I'm like, you need to act on it immediately. So please revisit your plans, revisit your goals. If you feel it's still too lofty, try to flesh it out, try to break it down, ask God for guidance. The last thing is we need to create constant, successful behavioral patterns. For instance, a lot of people that go and work out don't really like to work out. Motivation sometimes doesn't show up, but discipline does. When we discipline ourselves to setting certain successful behavioral patterns, it will help us. Who likes to wake up at 4 a.m. to pray? Who likes to do certain things? You want to sleep, that's when the sleep is sweet. But when we begin to set behavioral patterns, the person that sets for the weight loss sees their goals when they are consistent. The person that desires to be more spiritual wakes up at 4 a.m. They do it on a consistent basis, a study and prayer. They see a change in their lives. All the time, motivation is not there, but discipline would carry you to your finish line by God's grace. The verse I have here, which we all know, is Habakkuk 2:2. And it says, write the vision, make it plain upon the tables, that he may run that readeth it. It is simply clear. We need to write down. I know that Kemi told me that the EPR ladies are fantastic in this regard. So I want you to please click the chat and let's hear you. What has been working for you? What have you been doing? I want to know. I want some feedback to know what you've been doing that has been very helpful. And for some people, if you don't see what has been helpful, just share that too. That I've been trying this. It hasn't been as helpful as I would like, so that we can see how we can help each other here. So I need some responses.
Do you want the chat box or you want people to speak?
No, okay,
Chat.
sure. If they, if they want to speak or if they want to chat, it doesn't matter.
Okay. So we can use the chat box. If you want to speak, just raise your hand. Meal planning. So we have some coming in. Meal planning for the week. I love that.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So Toby, is meal planning has been working for you, right, Toby? That's basically what I'm reading from that, right? So fantastic. When I was which I'm back on because there was a time I was very what they call it, very structured with my meal plan, and Pastor Nika knows this. I meal prep a lot, and that helped. Of course, then I went for my master's program, and then my weight loss, sorry, my fitness is just getting back on track because I finally finished my program. So there are seasons to life anyway. So we are back on it. So I agree with you that meal planning does work and meal prepping. Anyone else? Okay, the Google Calendar for my husband and I to coordinate priorities. Fantastic, fantastic, fantastic. Because trust me, those tools are needed. Use it. I use, if you see my phone, you will be shocked. I also sync my daughter's phone to mine. So she started doing her own planning. So I know what she's doing. And then my husband. So, and then the church's calendar syncs in and the business calendar syncs in. So I have all the, and they're all color coded. So I know what belongs to what, and it helps me a lot. So I don't miss anything. All right. All right. So if we don't have any, okay, someone said, regarding my career, at the beginning of each month, I write down cases I want to close and I cross them out as I achieve the goals each month. Fantastic. Go Dolakbo. That's nice.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Awesome.
All right. So we would be moving on to the next one. I'll just close that. The next one I call mind work. I call this mind work. Okay. Here is where education. We need to continually be striving to gain knowledge, no matter what your age, how old you are, no matter what the barriers or limitations you think are on your life, you need to continue to get education. I just mentioned that I finished my second master's because I'm a pastor. So I decided to go for pastoral counseling and Christian ministry. So I just finished it in December. And I don't let anything stop me when I need to continue to gain education. Never stop learning. I wrote here, age is never a hindrance. Take relevant classes, degrees, workshop. What is it that you need to do to get you to the next level? What is it that you need to do to make you successful and be accountable? You need to do that. Don't just talk, oh, I wish I could do this. Oh, why can't I do that? Don't hold back, okay? My husband is always saying this, someone that wants to become a doctor, the same length of time is going to pass. So it's either you are called a doctor at the end of the same 4 years or 6 years, whatever it may take, or you're called, Mrs. or Mr. or whatever it is. So the same length of time will still pass. It's up to you to decide that, you know what, I want to have earned this by this date, and you push for it. Enroll in classes, sign up, Google these things, and also I wrote, keep certifications current and up to date for real estate agents or for whoever, whatever project or goal you have, keep your certifications current. Don't let them dry out. One thing I do, as my friends know, I plan years in advance. Sometimes I don't even tell people. I don't tell anyone. I don't even tell my husband sometimes. I plan years in advance. Something I want to do in 5 years, I've already started thinking about it now. I said, like I told you, I have my son's phone that he doesn't use. He's 9, but my husband decided to get him a phone. I don't know. So he doesn't use it, but I text the phone, of ideas for 5 years from now. I don't tell anyone because some people make fun of me, but that's me. I think way in advance of so many things that I'm planning. Okay, year 5, this is what I'm going to be, and this is what I think I want to do. Sometimes I share with my husband, and he's intrigued. Some people, when you share with them, they're like, I can't even get past today. I'm so swamped. I'm so busy. I'll ask someone, oh, what are you thinking about what are you thinking to do in 3 years? They're like, Tosin, let me get through this year first, come back. But I'm different. I think years in advance. And I know people are different, but it helps me put things in perspective. So if I know I have a lofty, not lofty goal, if I know I have a project or an ambition that I want to do in 5 years, certain things, everything I do will begin to navigate towards that. So things that if I don't need it to, make me digress, then everything has to fall in line. Basically, I begin to restructure my life towards those goals. So it's good for you to do what you need to do to keep you on the straight and narrow. What courses do you need? What degrees do you, whatever it may be, begin to think of them. Don't wait till it's too late. Do you understand? Basically, that's what I'm saying. But continue to learn. And the verse I put here, Proverbs 18:15, the heart of the discerning acquires knowledge, for the ears of the wise seek it out. We are wise women in this group. It's time for us to seek out knowledge in whatever we need to do. So we would, Kevin, you can click to the next slide. All right, so this is the third level of accountability. I said accountability to others. Now here, and all of this I have, so I would explain them for you. I have accountability partners in all various forms, okay? I have with my husband. There's a level, a high level with him that I have. He knows a lot, of my goals, my ideas, whatever it is, and he keeps me accountable. He's like, you mentioned this to me last year. How far with that? So I'm accountable to him. Like I told you, I text him a lot. So he sees all my plans. He sees what I have in store, what I'm thinking of. Even if it looks outlandish, I put it there, and he begins to help me sort through them because we both share finances. We both share everything. So he needs to be able to help me think through a lot of my ideas. Another one I put here is role model mentors. Role model mentors are people that you see that are achieving what you would like to achieve or are, already pushing forward, and you just see how they're handling certain things. These are people that you can approach and, ask to be in your lives. Of course, everything with all this level of mentors, we have a level of trust. So make sure that there's a level of trust established for you before you approach anyone. So the role model mentors, like I said, are people that are before you that have achieved either, in career-wise, business-wise, marriage-wise, whatever it might be. I have role models in my life I chat with and, run my ideas, some of my ideas, and they help me think through it. They also share their own pitfalls, their failures, their successes, so that I don't waste my time doing certain things. It helps me. So I do have role models that I look up to in my life. Another level are peer mentors. Peer mentors are people just like you, going through the same level as you, same challenges. I have that. In our marriage ministry, we have peer mentors. So they are equally, same marriageable age. I've been married for over 18 years. And so we have them, they help us. If we have any issues, if we have any situation, they help us and we help them as well. So, and there's a trust level that, is within the group. Whatever is shared stays within the group, and, they help us as well. So it's great for you to have people that are going through the same stride with you, so that, both the Bible says, iron sharpeneth iron, so they can help you and you can help them as well as you go through the journey of life. Another level, prayer partners. I have a lot of prayer groups, many prayer groups. We said different times there. So in the groups, and they ask for prayer points. I share prayer points. They share prayer points as well, concerning that. So it's nice for you to have prayer partners that will help you along the way in whatever, in being accountable to what you said. And sometimes when I raise a prayer point, one of them call me, they text me, Tosin, how far, what's going on with this thing that you mentioned and all that. So that is another level. The one, two, three, four, five. The fifth level, personal coach. It's good to invest in your future. It's good to invest in your success. So personal coach could be, come with a dollar sign, but they are trained professionals that can help you, and they are also trained to keep your confidence. So don't say, oh, this is too much or that is too much, or, you can also get free. But if there's a dollar sign to a personal coach, don't shy away from paying for it because it's essential. For instance, those that want to lose weight, if you don't find the motivation, having a personal trainer, putting your money where your mouth is. You want to lose the weight, pay for it. If if it's going to be helpful for you, and stuff like that. So don't shy away when you see a dollar sign next to a personal coaching, because it's supposed to help you invest in your future, invest in your success, invest in your accountability. Master groups. I'm involved with a couple of master groups. One of them, Pastor Nika, is involved with Fellowship of the Women. We started out, the sole purpose of starting out was coming in the beginning of the year, writing out our different plans. Whatever we say, they hold us accountable to. If I say I want to write a book, I'm holding you accountable to that. If you say you want to start a business, I'm holding you accountable, whatever you say. So we don't force anything on you. You tell us what your goal is, and we just hold you accountable. And so so master groups, you can form one if you don't have one, or you can join one. But of course, like I said, trust is the key. Everyone keeping your confidence. It is very crucial for that to happen. So I think, and then, like I said, iron sharpeneth iron, and Proverbs 27:17, iron sharpens iron, and one man sharpens another. So these are the three levels. I think it's probably the end of the slide, right, Kemi? Okay, yes. So basically, just to do a quick recap, in terms of setting yourself up for accountability for success, three levels. To God first. First and foremost, we must be accountable to God. He created us for a purpose and a reason. We owe it back to him to be letting him know how far we need help, all the steps and all that. And he's the one who created us. He's the master planner. He knows owns our instruction manual. So he knows exactly what can be fixed or what we can do. And like I also said, God is relational. So he expects us to work together, and that's where the social part, which I'll touch on. But in terms of also the second level, being accountable to self. First of all, the handwork that I raised my hands. The handwork that in terms of being practical. Writing down things, recording things, documenting things, very essential. I'm grateful to God that I heard that, most of you ladies are very good in doing that. So please let us continue and don't give up or stop. Always revisit what you write down and check it off your list. I always go back to my list and I always respond with done, 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 because it gives me satisfaction that it's closed, okay? When I do any task or do anything, I go back and I say done, 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 done. And then to me, it's done, moving on to the next task. So that works for me. And then going to the next one is the mind. We have to get training. We have to get education. You have to improve your skills. You have to improve yourself. You have to grow your mind strength, in things, in what you need to do, how it's going to make you successful. You need to be accountable in that regard as well. And finally, all the different levels of accountability. I know some people are so shy, or some people don't like to share. God is relational. He created others for a reason. You are not an island. You're not an island. Find someone you can trust in. Find peer mentors. Find role models. Find prayer partners. Find master groups. Join them. They would help you be better. Don't just say you just want to keep it all to yourself. different. Trust me, when you find trusted people, they're going to help you be better. They're going to help you grow, and they're going to help you become successful. So that's basically what I have for you today.
Oh, wow. Wow. Thank you so much, Pastor Tosin. Thank you. Just so many things. That was just very loaded. I wanted to just open it up for any questions that any of the participants have. If you have any questions, you feel free to raise your hand and I can allow you to talk. We'd like to hear your pretty voices this morning or afternoon. Anybody? Questions, comments? Ads. One of the things as folks are gearing up to ask a question. Okay, we have a question here. I was going to pass a comment, but I'll do that later. How do you manage your relationship with your role model mentor without feeling you're doing all the asking and not really contributing to the relationship? Again, I'll read it again, Pastor Tosin. How do you manage your relationship with your role model mentor without you feeling you're doing all the asking and not really contributing to the relationship?
Okay, I don't know about other mentors, but I know about me, and I'm sure Pastor Nike too would know. I take joy in mentoring people. I take joy. I don't mind the questions. A good mentor would be willing to help anyone else become better. Do you understand? Because God helped us as well. So, and he continually helps us. God doesn't ask us questions. We're the ones asking him questions. So why should I feel funny or somehow? So I don't want any mentee to feel like, oh, I'm always the one asking. That's the job of a mentee. A job of a mentee is to come and learn. And a job of a mentor is to provide the learning tools to help a mentee grow. And also that mentee now becomes a mentor to someone else. So it's passing on knowledge and helping. So I don't want you to, don't, if a mentor makes you feel awkward, you might want to find another mentor. Do you understand? Because a mentor is not supposed to make you feel awkward. A mentor is supposed to make you feel safe to ask as many questions as you have. Do you understand? So please, just feel comfortable, in managing your relationship. Just know that your job is to ask and to learn. And a mentor is just like a teacher and a student. That's the role. The teacher doesn't go there feeling like, oh my God, they're asking another question again. If the teacher does that, the teacher needs to find another job. That's what I have to say.
Yeah. Thank you, Pastor Tosin. That's so right on. One other thing I'll add is even with mentoring relationships, when you're engaging in a mentoring relationship, depending on who it is. So, especially if it's one of the role model mentors they're so busy and everything, and you might be feeling a little awkward. I think there's power in communication. So part of your asking, as Pastor Tosin mentioned, is, hey, help me understand how best to engage with you. How do I, to make sure that you feel comfortable? Maybe you're a little bit more structured with your time and how you engage with them, so that you make it easy for them. But to Pastor Tosin's point, really, most of the time, your mentor, people really love to pour into other people. A good mentor will want to pour into you, and so they will make the time. You work. I'm sure you're busy also. You'll walk through it and you'll figure out the best rhythm for both of you, and that will kind of give you that win-win scenario. I think I have another question that came in. What is one of the first few steps to identifying a mentor?
All right. One of the first few steps, first of all, someone that is open to wanting to help others, or wanting to share what they are doing or they have learned. Like if you go to any program and they invite a guest, person to speak, someone that is willing to help, someone that is excited to help, even if it's not a program or whatever, someone that at a workplace, someone that you go to and is so friendly, just open, just warm to you, that just you can see that the person is receptive. You know, do you understand? And I'm not saying that everyone that is closed off is not receptive, but it's easier when you see that you ask the person questions and the person is so delighted to answer your questions. And the person is just so eager to wanting to help. You understand what I'm saying? So those are a few steps in, you know, I feel you can use to identify a mentor. And someone that is successful, when you see that someone is successful in the area that you want to go into, or something, or a field that you like, do you understand? So you can reach out to the person, and depending on how the person is receptive to your wanting them to come and mentor you, you know, you'll be able to decipher from that.
One of the things, so right on, one of the things that I've experienced, seen around mentoring is, you know, being very specific. So you can have mentors in different areas, right? So you can have a spiritual mentor, you can have one for your career, you can have one from a business perspective, you know, you can have one from a relational perspective. So there are different areas. So you want to, as you identify that person, you want to kind of scan the environment to say, okay, who's this person that is successful in the particular area that I'm interested in for that particular time? So, which means you can have multiple mentors. And then even one of the things I also recommend, even when people reach out to me to want to be mentored, or if I want to be mentored by somebody, is gather information to kind of especially if you're not familiar with the person and you're just, you know, trying to get to know the person, really just meet with them and get more information, with no commitment, so to say, and just ask so that you can really validate and confirm that this is the right person for you at that particular time. I think that initial engagement, like no strings attached, but let's just talk. You might even learn one or two things from that discussion, even if it might not be a long-term relationship. But most people I've seen, when you reach out to them, they're at least willing to help in one form or fashion.
And I just wanted to piggyback on what you said, which is fantastic, because I do have one of my past mentors. He is fantastic in the area of business and finance and all that. But when it comes to the area of marriage, he's not that big. So sticking to the success of, you understand, don't pick one mentor for all areas of your life. Do you understand what I'm saying? Find their strengths and stick to that. So I do agree in that regard with picking different mentors for different areas. And also another thing I wanted to mention is a mentor is not supposed to be, you're not supposed to, how do they say this? Become so codependent on your mentor. But do you understand? You have to be careful now. There are a lot of things that you need to do. You know, don't become so codependent that everything, oh my God, my mentor, I can't do. No, you need to learn. The mentor is there for a season of your life. It's not, you can build friendships from that, don't get me wrong. But the mentor, there's always a time limit to everything. You can't be so codependent that it becomes, you know, a funny kind of
unhealthy.
I was looking for that one.
I mean, and you said, you know, when you were talking, what struck me was, really, you know, how you started with, you know, God being the first, God being at the center. At the end of the day, you know, your mentor can only complement and help you and enable you in the area in which you know that God has really spoken to you. So you will receive that relationship with God is so central. And as you know, the way I look at it is like it's the center of it all, such that no matter what anybody tells you, accountability partner, whatever it is, it still needs to be anchored on that center. So if they tell you something that doesn't sit right with you, because your mentors they're not God, then it doesn't sit well with you, because that's not what God told you. You know, and you go back to the basics.
Yeah, I agree.
Any other questions or comments? Great questions, by the way. Anybody? Or comments, if you have any ads. I believe that we are all learning from each other. So if there's any comments, you know, again, you know, feel free to raise your hands. We will love to hear your voices if you would like to be heard. I encourage you to do so. Hi, Pastor Nikki.
Hi, everybody. Thank you, Pastor Tosin. This has been just simply fantastic. I've been really enjoying myself. Thank you, Kemi. Also in the interaction, I just wanted to add a few comments. I think I really liked one of the things I really enjoy about the EPR network is just the easy way we can assimilate information in a very in a way that's very easy for us to assimilate, let me put it that way. So the first point was accountability to God. I really like the different aspects of accountability to self, but I just want to just quickly piggyback on some things that accountability to God sometimes can seem like a large thing. I like the fact that we said being accountable to studying the word, being accountable to praying. The reason is because these are the things, these are the areas where we sharpen ourselves up. So that to your point, Kemi, when you said, if that's not what God told you, if you were not accountable to God in the first place, how would you know how to manage your accountability with other people? Because that level of accountability has trained you to know where to draw boundaries, even in the accountability, mentoring relationship, master groups with a life coach and all of that. So I really, really like that. And the second element of the accountability to self that I think is one of the key things that drives the women's network is really the knowing what God's purpose is for your life and being accountable to it, knowing that there's a place where you tell yourself, I'm going to go through challenges, I'm going to go through storms in life. Nobody is exempt from that. But I have to be faithful to things I believe I can do, irrespective of the challenges. So life might throw me curveballs. I may not be where I feel I need to be. I may not have reached where I felt I should reach. I may have had some setbacks, but I choose to be accountable to myself and to hold on to the dreams and the visions and know that God will make it come to pass. And I think that's another area of accountability to self that I felt, when it was broken down today, I really, really liked it. Part of it is that 2018, I thought I'll do certain things. It didn't happen. I thought I'll be able to get additional income. It didn't happen. Maybe you're thinking now I'm in 2019. You don't get discouraged. You become accountable to self, like Pastor Tosi said, and say, okay, because of what happened last year, I thought I'd be able to achieve it by now. Now I have to do this in the next 2 years. What do I need to do in little bits now to get me 2 years' time to be able to say, finally, this thing is ticked? And, the last one I said, I think part of accountability to self is forgiving self. Sometimes in all of us being accountable, we may feel we've let ourselves down or maybe not done something we needed to do, but when we are able to forgive ourselves, I think that's also very helpful. So I really appreciate how Pastor Tosi broke each of these things down. I'm looking forward to the slides, even to remind myself of those things. Thank you so much. This was awesome.
Thank you, Pastor Nikki.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Ladies, if there are no other questions, I'm just going to go to the wrap-up slide. And just a couple of things, so now we've talked, so just as Pastor Tosin and Pastor Nikki have just, pointed on just some very critical areas of accountability, different levels of accountability. I've honestly not thought about it in that, from those dimensions before. And so it's interesting, even though I'd seen the slides before, where Pastor Tosin talked about it, I'm like, okay, this is really interesting. And so I'm just so grateful. But, as you have been listening, there are probably one or two areas of accountability that you have to focus on now. So maybe it's the accountability to God, or the accountability to self, or accountability to others. Pastor Tosin talks about investing in yourself, and when there are dollar signs associated with it. For me, because money, I like money, and I'm very particular about money. When I spend money, I'm like, I'd better make that happen because I've invested in it. I did one recently, and I'm looking at that money. I couldn't even look at my account for a while because I'm like, okay. But I'm like, look at it, Kemi, and remember. So you better get this goal accomplished. And so what is it? What is that one type of accountability or two that you really need to focus on? So if you're willing to share, please just type it up in the chat group. Just again, let's practice accountability here. Let's share with everybody. What is that area of accountability that's important to you that you need to focus on now that you've learned one or two things? And so just as a quick reminder, I'm just going to run through the slides really quickly. You know, you have spiritual accountability to God, personal accountability, accountability to self, that handwork, you know, recording your ideas, you know, revisiting your goals and your visions, right? Intellectual, from your mind work. What is that degree? What is that class that you need to take? How do you need to expand your intellect, so to say? And then from a social perspective, you know, we have so many types of accountability, and you know, now you're my new mentor, role model mentor. She's like, I have all of them. I'm like, whoa, okay. So, you know, talking about your accountability strategy, is what's missing? Where do you see a gap? And if you're willing to share, please share in the chat group. You need a personal coach, or you know, a role model mentor for a particular season in your life, or what have you. You know, feel free to share so that we just kind of know what you all are thinking. And so I'm still waiting for chats for feedback in the chat group. I'm gonna start.
There's a question.
Oh, there is. Okay, let me pull it up. All right. Personal accountability. So, it's not a question. It's actually you know, she's just
Okay.
sharing. She said, personal accountability, particularly when I'm lacking motivation. As Pastor Tosin said, discipline comes in handy when motivation is lacking. Thanks, Titi, for sharing. I appreciate that. Okay. All right, let me check the chat group to see if we have any others. Otherwise, we'll close out. I did say that I you know, there are a couple of role model mentors that I need for this season in my life. Again, talking about seasonal changes. And so I have personally gone through a lot of changes within the last couple of years. So my needs have changed. And so the things I need to learn and glean from are totally different now. And so I need to identify those new role model mentors in those particular areas.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, well, thanks for sharing. Feel free to keep typing. As we close out, we definitely want to stick to time. I do have a quick survey poll that we're going to run in a minute. And it's for us to just get some quick feedback about this session. If you don't mind just responding to it, well, I'm going to run it in a minute. So I'm going to launch it. And if you can all there's just 3 questions. And if you can run it, if you can just respond very quickly, that will be greatly appreciated. We want to know how the session went, how effective we were. It's running now. Can you all see the poll? Okay, I see people are responding. Thank you. Thank you so much. So while that's running and you're going through that, we'll multitask here. Just want to, you know, this is our second webinar. We're excited. We are so grateful to God for just seeing us through this session 2. We're going strong. We're going into March, and we have another amazing session coming up. I am personally excited because I know I'm going to learn so much. It's titled Building Your Brand, Maximizing the social media for your business and career. How many of you get overwhelmed by social media today, and you're trying to figure out, how do I maximize it? How do I use it in a way that is positive? And then you see other people using it in such a positive way, and how are you doing this? Next month, March 16th, same time, 12 noon, we will be having a session by an expert in this area. And if you, we want you to just save that date. We'll be sending out more information. The flyer and the registration information will be coming out soon. All right, so thank you all. If you have not responded to the poll, please do so. We would like everybody's feedback if possible. I have only 13 responses. Speaking of accountability, and we have about 19 people on the call, or 20. So if you can respond, that would be great. All right. Otherwise, I just want to say a huge thank you to Pastor Tosin. Pastor Tosin, thank you so much for sharing the wealth of wisdom that you just poured out into us today. And we pray that God will truly just bless you and reward you. We know you're extremely busy and you have a lot going on. And, you know, I will say she is a testimony, or she's an example of somebody who's accountable. I remember when I talked to her, I was like, boom, 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 these are the things we need to do. She was like, I'll get the slides to you on this particular date. And on that day, I didn't even have to ask for it. There was no reminder, nothing. I got it. She's like, slide send, boom. And I'm like, okay. And so I just knew she was the right person. And through the process, she has made it so easy. I'm the one that has been like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I'm, asking for this late. And so I have so much to learn from you. I really do admire you. I've always admired you. And I just pray that God will bless you. I'm sure we all appreciate the wealth of wisdom you shared with us today.
Amen. Thank you
So,
for having me.
No, thank you. So without too much else to say, I just want to say thank you to everyone for joining us. Again, meet us here this time next month. We'll be sharing some additional tools and techniques with you, and have a blessed week ahead.
All right. God bless you.
God bless you.